Peter knew the Gentiles were Christians without having to be under the law of Moses. He was eating, he was fellowshipping with them until the Jewish Christians showed up. Then Peter ignored the Gentiles, apparently giving way, even Peter, to social pressure. The New Living Translation says he was afraid of criticism from the people who insisted on the necessity of circumcision.
Even Barnabas, Paul's trusted friend and fellow missionary, was treating the Gentiles like they were outsiders and less important. Unfortunately, Peter sought a level of social comfort that was damaging and not Christ-like, and it was influencing others.
And that shows you how easy it is for it to happen. If it could happen to the Apostle Peter after he's got God's Spirit and he's been doing all this work for all this time, it can happen to any of us. And that's something that we need to be very, very aware of. And with the Apostle Peter and with us, you need to reset. Correcting this for Peter needed, in his case, in this circumstance, it needed external input. And sometimes discomfort can jar us out of our misplaced comfort. Let's continue with Galatians 2. Let's read verse 14.
But when I saw that they were not straightforward about the truth of the gospel, I said to Peter in the presence of all, "If you, being a Jew, live like the Gentiles and not like the Jews, how is it that you compel the Gentiles to live like Jews?"
Yikes. The Apostle Paul called out the Apostle Peter in public. So, Rick, why not just pull him over to the side and whisper that what he was doing was wrong?
Well, he could have done that, and then he would have corrected Peter in a very quiet manner, and Peter would have had to go about and try to figure out what to do. Instead, because Peter is one of the foundation pillars of God's people on earth, he needed to be corrected publicly so that everyone would see the importance of what was happening. So the lesson here is to choose to change those things that bring us away from our purpose of honoring God. And while we don't have in Scripture anything written about Peter's response, we are sure that his response was acquiescent. We are sure that he understood, that he corrected himself, and he continued being that great leader whom he had been, because it was for the good of all, and he recognized, I shouldn't have done that. And that's a big thing. That's why resetting is such an important part of our choices, because we have to reset because we keep falling down. So our comfort conclusion here is learn the higher comfort, again, the bigger, better comfort zone of walking the way a Christian ought to walk. There's a whole brand new comfort zone there, folks, that you may not have introduced yourself to yet, but it's beautiful. And it's got the peace of Christ in it. It's a beautiful place to be. Let's